Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, where we take a look to see how the managers of this league are getting on in their quest to be crowned champion for 2021-22. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming back. Another week, another episode. Are we all excited? Because there's a lot of football this week. Yes, there is a lot of football going on. I'm really geared up for this. I've cleared my diary. I'm ready, willing and listening to as much of the football, as much of the matches that I can get into here. Hector? Yeah, I am very excited. I'm ready. I'm G'd up for this. I think there's going to be great football, great results, great momentum. Looking forward to seeing how our managers get on. Indeed, of course. Yeah. Game week, now we're going to be looking at game week 13 in a moment, but game week 14 started Tuesday, the 30th of November, and continues right through onto Wednesday and Thursday. And then game week 15 kicks off on Saturday the 4th. So it's like a whole week of football. It's exciting. How did our managers get on? I don't know. I think it's time to have a look and see how our managers got on. I'm very curious to see myself. How did they get on? There hasn't been a lot of change, gentlemen, in the table, has there? Not really, no. I had a quick look at it, earlier on today. And I'm surprised that there wasn't a lot of movement on it. But then again, it's indicative that some managers are not doing enough. They're not moving any place. Okay, we will have a look there. In first place, no change. Sorry, KDB, 59 points. They had one transfer. Jota came in and got them a whopping 14 points. Foden, of course, didn't play. Eamon, he's still at the top. Yes, he's still at the top. Went for Salah, got 12 points. Alexander-Arnold got the 9. Semedo got him 5 points. And Tony done quite well at getting 9 points as well. Of course, Spurs didn't play because of a little bit of snow. And they suffered, the loss of the Son not playing. I don't think he'd be too happy with that. I think a lot of managers will have been put out about that. I think a lot of managers will be a bit put out about his defence as well. Could have been doing a little bit better. Hector, anything to add to this? Well, I don't think so. Not really. But I think that, having Salah and the Jota in there is very good. The Tony is doing well up there. Antonio still not doing much. You have to weigh up. He going to stay in there or not? Jimmy is enough weak, but look, he's doing enough to keep at the top there. Yeah, he's doing quite well. Look, pardon the pun, but he's whether or no weather, this guy is ploughing on, and he's not worried about anybody. It's a great position to be in. There's no pressure on this guy. You say there's no pressure on him. Why do you say that? Well, look, he's a new manager in here. We've never seen him manage before. He's managing quite well. Since he's come in, he's remained in first place, and nobody is closing the gap on him. At this point, this guy is cruising nicely. And look, the game weeks are ticking down. Second place, no change either, is Tobogger 6. 57 points, 1 transfer. Cancelo came in and got him 1 point. Semedo went out, 5 points. Hector, not a good transfer, was it? No, not a good transfer. As I say always, you're always trying to identify the man when you bring in, he's going to bring you 2 points in. Now, the Cancelo had not good game. He had good game, good results beforehand. You think he's going to have form, he's going to have pedigree. Sometimes you have to stick with what you know. Semedo is not bad. He would play, he get points. I think I stick with him before that. He had Salah as captain. He got the 12 points. The Ramsdale in goal, doing very good, 7 points. Alexander-Arnold got the 9 points. Vardy, really doing good, 12 points. And the Tony, he got the 9 points. Really good forward lines. The points are coming from the forwards. Yeah, I have to say one criticism is that the bench, poor bench, not having really good subs to come off. And I think that is costing the manager points. Yeah, I think so. I certainly think that the transfer didn't pay off, backfired. And for all of the changing and stuff, okay, there's not the 10 points difference between himself and the KDB. There's 2 points in it this week, but he's still not getting enough ground, enough traction there. It reminds me something of a dog chasing after the tires of a car, trying to snap there but not getting him. Interesting analogy there, Eamon. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's, maybe this week he'll do something different. I don't know. But at the moment, I don't see anybody really pushing enough to do enough, to get enough. Third place, again, no change. Raglan Road, 40 points. They had 1 transfer. Smith Rowe came in and got 3 points, and they put Bowen out for 1 point. So it is, a half decent transfer there, wasn't it? Yeah, half decent. Salah's the captain, got the 12 points. White, 6 points. Alexander-Arnold got 9 points. Got caught out, of course. Dyer and Son didn't play. Do think here often that there's no backup. for the goalkeeper, and that's poor for a manager. You need to have backup there, and I think compared to other weeks, this is a bit of a letdown. Now, it's not helped by his 2 players not playing, but I think there's an element of a reality check going on here. 4th place, no change either. Legion 11, 47 points. Now, they went and opted to play the triple captain. And they had 1 transfer. St. Maximin came in for 2 points. They put Mopey out for 2. Well, the transfer didn't do much. You may not bother doing the transfer if that's all you want to get. I thought it'd be strange to play triple captain. Perhaps maybe they thought that Salah was going to do great thing against Southampton, but Southampton are not a big pushover, there's just bite to them there. I think maybe a little early to play the triple captain. I think, you get a double week. If there is one coming near, that's the time to keep the triple captain. So I think a little bit of an error there. However, they had Salah as the captain. Now, he got 18 points, but I think it was a waste. Alexander Arnold got a 9, Dunk got 6, Son of course, play. But I think this week, a bit of a poor return for the players. Like, you have 2 players who got 1 point. You got about 6 players. They only got the 2 points. So I think they'd be glad to see this week going behind them, moving on, getting on. Yeah. Look, it wasn't nothing transfer. It's a bit of a strange one, really. I think it didn't do much there. I think there's an element of, this manager is still learning. And to do that, play that triple captain just now, it didn't work. They learned a lesson from that there. 5th place then is Ain't Got a Clue. No change here either. 62 points. They had 2 transfer. Rudiger came in and got them 2 points. Put Maguire out because he's not playing. And they brought Fornals in. And he got 2 points. And they put James out for Everton. He's gone off in the transfer, so he's not playing anyway as such there. Another captain, Salah. Yeah, I think you'll find this week most managers all went for Salah. Dependable Salah. They got the 12 points. But I'd have to say, this is a guy who had Van Dijk as his captain for weeks, and he changed, and he picked the wrong guy. He should have stuck with Van Dijk. But sure, for many weeks you were saying, why is he not changing as captain? I did. But sometimes you have to reflect and think, is now the right time to move it? Didn't do it. A bit of a mistake there. However, look, Alexander-Arnold got the 9, Jorginho got 8, Saka got 8. No goalkeeper playing, poor forward line. It's the midfield that saved them this week, hanging on to 5th place, really, from what I can see. 6th place then, of course, is Blightsome squad. No change. 55 points. 2 transfers. They lost 4 points. Alexander-Arnold came in with 9 points. White went out with 6. Højbjerg came in, who didn't play, and Saka was put out for 8 points. Eamon, 2 good players transferred out. Where was the sense in that? I'm not sure. I don't know what Blightsome were doing. Saka does have moments of brilliance and then will let you down. I spoke about this the other week, and perhaps the manager was listening to you. So you were the architect of the transfer. No, I did not architect anything. I said that Saka could have a good week, a nice sunny day, and then for weeks after it's pouring rain, you get nothing out of him. It just wasn't a good transfer because Spurs didn't play. Now, of course, White is a good player, but I'm not sure, but I can understand they're trying to get Alexander-Arnold in. I think the 1 transfer probably would have been better and not lose the 4 points, However, look, Salah was captain again at 12 points. Alexander-Arnold got 9. They have Tony who got 9. Vardy was there with 12. Active, good points coming in across the board there, even with the 2 guys not playing there. Look, they'll be hoping that their forward line keeps scoring. 7th place is Arkham Avengers. No change. 41 points. They had 4 transfers and they lost 12 points. Wow, oh, this is a big hit. Oh. Now we'll have a look at what happened and who they brought in. Eamon, you're itching to get going. I'm itching to get going on this one here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cancelo came in and got 1 point. Put Christensen out. He didn't play, so there was no points there. Gallagher came in for 2 points and Saka went out for 8. Bernardo came in for 2 points and Foden was put out. Didn't play either. And Jimenez was brought in for 2 points and Wilson was put out. And he got 2 points. Take it away, Eamon. I know you're ready to go. Okay, look, yeah, as you said, they lost 12 points. And of the players that they brought in, they only made 7. So they have, a massive loss of 5 points there. It's a really, really shocking transfer tactic to have pulled. But then again, Cancelo was playing well. He was expected to get something out of him. And Gallagher has been doing well also. Yeah, but you put Saka out. But you've already discussed about Saka. That's right. But maybe sometimes hold your powder. Don't get rid of him just yet. Hold on, Eamon. You're on about him being like a sunny day one moment, and now you're trying to say, hold on to him, mightn't rain for another week or something with him. Well, look, sometimes you have to go and take it as it is. I think, if I can speak here, I think that the Arkham Avengers manager, and they're looking at their team, and in fairness, their team not really gelling. And I think he's trying to get a team, to mold the team together to get working. And maybe sometimes take the bites and take the bullet and then say, right, this is it, I will go for it. Like Cancelo is not a bad player. Gallagher has been good. Jimenez is not doing too good. Bernardo has been fair. They're decent enough players you brought in. And they did not go for big expensive players. And, maybe in the coming week, he's hoping that this will not pay off for him. Well, it's a big gamble, isn't it? It's certainly a big gamble. I have to say, they done well to hold 7 plays. Well, I actually think they dropped down to 8 at one point. But with a couple of points that came their way, they managed then to get hold 7th. Salah is their captain, 12 points. Then, of course, Alexander-Arnold got them to 9. Dyer didn't play. But, of course, they had Sasa came in there with 6 points. So they had points coming off the bench. Yeah, well, that is something. And that's what you need. Point on the bench. You need that there. But there's another problem in this team. 3 players got 1 point. 4 players got 2 points. And Rafinha got 3 points. That's, that's pretty poor. And this is the second week of doing transfers and losing ground. This manager, I actually thought when I heard he done the -12, I thought this manager has lost the plot. But I think this manager is standing on sinking sand. And, it's going to be curtains for the Arkham Avengers very shortly. Fairly dramatic stuff there, Eamon. And look, if you're going to do a dramatic -12, yeah, I think you're asking for that. 8 plays, no move. Lafayette Lions, 52 points. They had 3 transfers and they lost 8 points. James came in, got 1 point. Chilwell went out because he's injured. Now they brought Jota in, who got 14. But Rice out, who got 2 points. And then Højbjerg was brought in, who didn't play. And Gray was put out. He only managed 1 point. The Jota move is a good one there. A very good move, yeah. They selected the right man there. They could have selected Jota as a captain and really, really shook things up there. Instead, they went for Salah. Captain, 12 points. Alexander-Arnold is 9. White, 6. Watkins got 2. Maximin, 2. Antonio, 2. Not much of a forward line, really. 2 of the Spurs guys didn't play. They stalled. Won't be really happy with it. But 52 points is a good return. They're still going in the right direction. And we're looking to build on that. Mighty Defenders are in 9th place. Non-mover also 46 points. 1 transfer. Smith Rowe was brought in for 3 points. And Mio was put out 2. Captain, Salah again. No surprises there. As I says, everybody's nearly going for Salah. I have a feeling though that's going to change this week. So he got the 12 points. Alexander-Arnold got the 9. Verdi got 12 points. If you look at the team, Eamon and Hector might go with this. There's not a great return out of some of these players, are there? And no, like a bit like when they Arkham, you have 4 players who get the 2 points, 2 players get the 1 point. There's 6 players not getting much return. It's something that, I think that the manager will be trying to change. And I think maybe, they will couple of tweak here and there, bring in 1 or 2 decent other players, and sometimes you get the break. They might do it well. Okay. Next, can we win again? Up to 10th. 59 points. 2 transfers. Gallagher came in. 2 points. Kovacic went out. Of course, he's injured. Pookie came in with 2 points. And Daka went out. He's not playing. They too had Salah as the captain. Eamon, look, they had a wobble last week. I think they're getting back on track. Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, at 7 points. Van Dijk in there with 15. Tommy Ushu, who is he? For goodness sake, he's a defender. Got 12 points. Don't you know who's playing in these teams? It's sometimes the way you talk. I don't know. But anyway, I understand. Okay, who won? Yeah, okay. Ronaldo is there. This is a bit of a disappointment. Got no points. He played 26 minutes. It's not good. Won't be happy at all with that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ronaldo might be sacrificed at some point. But as I said, they're going in the right direction. Do you think they'll build on that, Eamon? Well, they won't build on the Ronaldo, but there's still enough decent players there in this team. And he's closing the gap. The manager was in free fall for quite a number of weeks. He's managed to arrest that. And now he's rising. He's closing the gap on the mighty defenders. Lafayette Lions is still managing to keep slightly ahead, but not this week. And of course, we'll not mention anything about the self-destruct spoofer. 11th place, and they're down, is maximum effort. 51 points, no transfers, no guessing that they had Salah as the captain, 12 points. Van Dijk was there with 15. Verdi, 12. They have no goalkeeper. What do we make of this? I think this is just a poor reflection on bad man management. You should all have a backup goalkeeper. You need to have the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is there. You know who have the goalkeeper? Not good enough. You have to have that. I think you need to tune in on that. click into that debate. You say yes. And Eamon, you're looking here and you're going to talk about how effective these players are. Well, look, I agree with Hector. Like, it's a simple thing to have a goalkeeper backup to be there if you need him. If you're not having a goalkeeper, you're not really watching what you need to watch. The subs bench, they're just sitting there gathering dust. They're about as useful now as they are as, a chocolate teapot out in the desert. There's 5 players getting 2 points. 2 players got 1 point. Again, it's not a great return. And there's a theme here running with some of these players here. And some of these managers. And they need to address this as such. And, I thought last week they were going to really get going, put some form together. And look, you're back to square one. It's 1 step forward, 1 step back. It's like a dance. 12 plays, no move, Rosy Rovers, 33 points, no transfers. I'm not surprised. If they'd done a transfer, I'd fall off my chair. And look, they had Fernandez as the captain, 2 points. Shocking. Now Madison is there and got 16. Gabriel got 8, but that's about it. They've no bench. There are actually 2 players on the pitch who were injured. Don't know what they're doing there. 1 guy is on the pitch, didn't even play. 2 sets of players got 2 points, 3 players got 1 point. Look, this is another exciting week. Absolutely nothing from this manager here. I wish they'd get in touch with the show. Well, if they want to get in touch with the show, it's Arkham Avengers FFPL at gmail.com. 13th place and a non-mover also here. Water Beauty 99, 24 points. Yeah, really, really not good here. This is a poor week for this manager. And this is a manager who's active. Yeah, they had 2 transfers. They lost 4 points. They brought in Smith Rowe, got them 3 points. And they put Mount out, who got 1. Mendy was brought in for 2 points. And Guetta, goalkeeper, got 1 point. They too have Fernandez as their captain. Yeah, another 2 points. Another thing to add in there. So it's just not good enough. Like last week, what did they get? 55 points down to 24. This is not great. Well, Salah's there 6 points. Well, he's the only good player on that pitch. And again, there's no bench. 7 of those players out there, they got 2 points. There's not a hope of this manager doing anything with this. I agree, Eamon. This is another team, man. He need to tweak his team and get going here, Yeah, like, would you say, lads, that this manager here, in all fairness, the team are looking a bit stale? Well, it certainly is. I think you need to change the captain for a start. Change a few of the players. Let's see, can you get some movement in there? Motivation. Mucho gracias. Get moving up there. Yes, Eamon. Mucho gracias. 14th place then is Bamford Rejects, 22 points. You don't tell me. No transfers. Exactly, no transfers. Yes, okay. And Fernandez, the captain, 2 points again. Well, they had Tony, he got 9 points. And I think from what I can see, he's the only guy on that pitch doing anything. Yeah, it's a mess of a team here, so it is. There's 3 players on the pitch injured. What manager is doing this? Actually, hold on a second. I'm going to correct myself. This team don't have a manager. You don't think they have a manager? Well, look, you wouldn't. If you were managing the team, you wouldn't do this. And again, 2 players getting 1 point. 4 players getting 2 points. Rafina getting 3 points. I don't know if this can get any worse. Maybe another injury on the pitch? Well, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. And in 15th place, no change. El Loco John, now they got 50 points. No transfers. Yeah, Lukaku is back. They didn't change him, but they got the 2 points. Messi got 8. Madison 16. McGinn got 10 points, which is good, and White got 6. There's nothing happening with the bench here. The two players are injured, and I have to say, scratching my head, it's a mystery how they got the 50 points. They must have something like a 4-leaf clover. 4 leaves of what? 4-leaf clover. It's a lucky little flower. You get this, it brings you a lot of luck. They must have a bag of these, because how they're getting 50 points there, I just don't know. But they did get it. Okay, well, that's it there. That's it. That's our team. So we only had the 1 move. Can we win again? Went up. Maximum effort went down. Everybody else stayed as they were. Yeah, well, look. As I said, I think there was a lot of managers, they got caught with the Spurs. Like, if Spurs had played, there would maybe be a little more changing here, and there'd be a bit more movement. I think some managers got off, and certainly Arkham Avengers got off lucky. They would have been down if they played, because I'd say Lafayette Lions, they had 2 Spurs players to play. That would have been the clincher on it there. Okay, that's it for this week. We're going to have a real busy episode next week, because we'll have Gameweek 14 and 15 to talk about. I keep drinking the hot lemons, keep my voice ready for this here. Indeed. And look, we shall enjoy that there. Lads, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. Oh, yeah, can I give my shout out? Listen, are you going to give a shout out every week? I just want to know that. Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out. Okay, look, I should bring earplugs for this part of this segment. Eamon, look, it's a shout out. And I do appreciate our listeners out there. And I know, I do appreciate the listeners. I think it's always nice to have the listeners. And the listeners make the show. How do they make the show? Because they're listening. If we don't have listeners, I'm only talking to you and talking to the host. And that's not much use, is it? Oh yeah, okay. Eamon, let him talk. Okay. Oh, I want to give our usual big shout out to all our listeners in America, we have listeners on Swords, our listeners over in Oranmore, in Galway. A big thumbs up to Galway. I go to hopefully get to Galway after Gameweek 15 finished. For a day, I go over there into Galway. I go to Spanish Arch, have fish and chips. Listen here, this is cringe inside. And I also want to give shout out, to our listeners in Bavaria, and we have our listeners in France also, our listeners in the UK. Big shout out to them. Our listeners in South America as well. Thank you very much. Very nice to have you there listening to us, and our listeners over in Asia. Yes, thank you very much. Very good to have you listening to us also, and big thumbs up. A big shout out to all our listeners in Monaghan, over in Mayo, Dublin, down in Cork as well. Nice to have you there as well. And yes, of course, also big shout out to our listeners in Moroni, Grand Comore. Thumbs up there. Is that it? Yeah, that'd be it. Yeah. Thank God for that. I just don't know times. Anyways, look, that's it. Hector, thank you very much. Thank you. You're very nice to be here, it'd be great. And Eamon, a pleasure always to have you. Thank you. We didn't get to find out how the carpet cleaner went. I don't think I could talk about that now either. That's bone of contention. Eamon, I tried my best with it. You saw what I was trying to do. Yeah, I know what you were trying to do. You ended up spreading the stain of the wine even larger. It's now larger. The book that I have, Henri Cartier-Bresson's book on photography, no longer covers the stain because you've managed to expand the stain. I don't know how you've done it, but look, it's growing. What have you done, Simon? I've put a rug over it, so I have. They like it in the house. They think it adds there, covers it up. Very well. Okay. Listeners, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure always to have you listening to us. Hope that you return and join us next week. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends. And if anybody wants to drop us an email, it's arkhamavengers@ffpl@gmail.com, or you'll find us on Twitter at Arkham Avengers FFPL, and we're also on Facebook at Arkham Avengers FFPL. You'll find us there. Just look for the hashtag the panel. You'll find us. And until next week, have a good day, good evening, a good night, wherever you are in the world, and take care.